Hello there and welcome to another One Sheet Wonder Wednesday with Ruth from Artful Stamping. Today I'm using Balmy Blue, Tranquil Tide, Berry Burst and Crushed Curry as my colours, and going to be using the Letters for You stamp set, which is a really versatile set if you like to create customised cards. Now don't forget that Tranquil Tide and Berry Burst are in colours and they're going to be leaving us in June, so if you need the re-inkers or you need the ink pads themselves, do go ahead and order those from me very soon. Just head to artfulstamping.co.uk and click on shop and it will take you right there. So the stamp sets I'm using today are Colourful Seasons and Happy Birthday Gorgeous. And I had an idea for creating some monogram cards as kind of celebration cards or birthday cards for people that just had that element of personalisation without kind of stamping the whole name on there. So I used early espresso ink and I chose some letters for various people that I might be sending these cards to, and I went ahead and stamped those on my cardstock in a portrait orientation so that because I knew I wanted to have it that way for when I was making the card. Then I grabbed the rose, kind of sketch, what I call the sketched rose from Happy Birthday Gorgeous. It's got a lot of line art to it, and I used the Berry Burst to just start stamping. And I didn't really have a plan of what I was going to be doing. I just kind of let the flowers kind of dictate and the shape of the letter, and just had fun kind of stamping away. Now partway through I realised I needed my stamping mat because I was using photopolymer stamps, and it does help to make a difference. Now I also realised that my Berry Burst ink did need a re-ink, but I didn't stop filming just to do that, I just carried on. But it is worth remembering that if you do use your stamps and inks and you're thinking, oh, if the ink is not really working as it should do, then it might be worth re-inking your ink pad just to give it a new breath of life and get that colour on there properly. So I stamped various flowers with the Berry Burst colour, and then started to use the Balmy Blue to add some other different flowers in there. Now the rose that I used with the letter E, because it's quite sketchy, it's just line drawings, I decided I wanted more of a block flower to contrast with that, and it worked really well with the Balmy Blue. So then I carried on using Balmy Blue, but this time I ended up using the sketched rose that I used for the Berry Burst on the E. I then used that on the J, and then back to those really cute little flowers for the R, which contrasted really nicely with that kind of daisy kind of shape. And then I started work on the V as well with a cute little flower. So as you can see, I'm just kind of trying to fill the space up a little bit before then adding the leaves. Now the Happy Birthday Gorgeous set does have quite a few choices of what type of leaf you want, and it was really nice to have all those different options. So I used Tranquil Tide, and because it's quite a dark colour, I made use of the second generation stamping technique where I stamped and stamped again just to give a little bit more depth to what I was doing, but also so you had a lighter version of the Tranquil Tide there on the card. Now this is technically not a leaf, it's more like a rose hip, but I used it like a leaf just to decorate in between these flowers. It is fun seeing what something with a bit more of a stem can do for your piece. So with this V, I then decided to use the stamp that has a little bit more of a stem with leaves hanging off, and to create quite a lot of movement really, stemming away from the base of that V. And I really like how this turned out. Initially when I looked at it I thought, oh, it's a bit too symmetrical for my liking, and I also realised that I had a lot of pink up by the V and I needed to put some more pink in. So then I started adding some more flowers to try and balance the amount of the Berry Burst on there. So then I grabbed the, I call it the Blossom stamp from Colourful Seasons. Now, as you can see, there's this little gap in between the florals there, and that is because it is designed to match up with a branch from the same stamp set, but I kind of used it to my advantage by carefully placing it so that where the gap was, I kind of put a flower or a leaf, or so it kind of made it look like it was intentionally designed for my use today. But it's worth looking at stamps, adapting them. Colourful Seasons is meant to be a kind of a set that you can use just on its own. But, the beauty of stamping is that there are no rules, and you can start mixing and matching different stamp sets together to get the results that you want to get. So the add of this crush curry with those beautiful blossoms just was lovely. It just added a bit of brightness to the work. Then I used the little, the central stamen parts of the Colourful Seasons set, and they're these tiny, gorgeous little, almost spidery looking images that I find are fabulous for just filling in little areas and adding a kind of a wispiness to a floral design. And I did make a couple of boo-boos because on the actual stamp sets there's this little piece that sort of sticks out to show you what direction you're meant to stamp it in. Sometimes if I was being too quick, I ended up getting ink on it and then transferring that ink onto my work. So just be careful with that, when you're in a bit of a hurry, just pace yourself, take a breath, and don't ink your stamp up too hard, because that can happen. It can lead to mistakes. But there we go. It's just one of those things, and sometimes you can work with it and hide them up anyway. So again, I'm just going in there with some little yellow spidery elements now, and particularly working behind that kind of the hole in the R there, because I realised that it was kind of a blank space, and I didn't want to put a really solid image behind there, but having that little spidery stamp was just great for filling in areas like that so that it wasn't completely blank. So as you can tell, I had great fun creating these, and it's something that I definitely want to try again and maybe get some of my class attendees to do. Certainly if you have this stamp set, or if you have a letter stamp set, don't just restrict them to creating words and things. Have a think about using them like this to really show off the letters, but then also to show off some florals as well. Now, if you want to have a go with the colour combinations that I've used here, please do go ahead and do that and let me know how you get on. So here I am grabbing another of those spider backgrounds. Now, it's worth me just giving you a little tip about why I use these little plastic bags in my stamp boxes. It's because sometimes after I've used the stamps for a little while and I've not been good at getting them to the sink and giving them a nice wash, they start to lose a little bit of their stickiness. And so because I fear, one of my greatest fears is losing little stamps, I keep them in these little baggies so that I know that I don't lose them. Now, of course, I should just go and make sure I've washed them and make sure it returns their stickiness, but you know, life's busy and I don't always get around to doing that. So here I am just finishing off, putting a few more little dashes into my design, and yeah, as I said, it was really super fun and I really enjoyed doing this, and I'd love to have a go perhaps with another colour scheme and, you know, see what the results are like. It might be fun actually. I could come back and do this in a few weeks' time of trying to do a more masculine finish, so maybe sticking to slightly different colours and some leaves. So if you would like to see that, please leave a message below and I'll try and make sure I do that for you. So there we have it, nearly finished. I'm still going. Lots more in there. Okay, so as you can tell, I find it really hard to stop stamping when I get going. So now I'm chopping it all up, and I've ended up with these beautiful card fronts. I really don't need to add much more to this. I just need to stick them onto a card base and send them off to the people that they're meant for. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed. Please continue commenting below. I love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if it's the first time you're visiting my channel and you like what you see. And don't forget, there's lots of other videos on my channel if you'd like to check them out. Take care for now.